This bar represents your entire marketplace. So as an example, let's say that your entire marketplace, just for hypothetical numbers and to make things easy, let's say that there's 10,000 potential clients for your business in that particular marketplace. Here is where a lot of businesses get deflated because of that, because they think, well, if there's 10,000 potential clients in the marketplace, surely I can get a specific amount of those particular people. The problem is that at any one moment in any marketplace, really, only about 3% of those people are actually ready to buy. Meaning that it's only this tiny little sliver over here of that 3% that they're actually ready to buy. Now, the other 97%, it doesn't mean that they're never going to buy. It just means that they're not going to buy at this particular moment in time. And this is becoming more and more frequent as we go into the future as well. The reason for that is because of lack of trust in the marketplace. And this could be in any type of industry at all. A lot of people these days have been burned by people who said that they can deliver on something and they didn't. So and this is not just small businesses, this is multi-billion-dollar corporations, this is governments, this is healthcare, this happens all over the world in all different types of industries. So that means that realistically, if it's 10,000 people, then at any one moment, only about 300, that marker doesn't seem to be working very well right now, but that does say 300, are actually ready to buy, and about 9,700 of those people are not ready to buy. Now, bear in mind I said not ready to buy. Not that they'll never buy, but they're not ready. And this is a timing situation. Now look, it doesn't matter if you have the most amazing offer in the world, there's always going to be people who they don't need it, they're not ready, they've other things on their plate. Even if what you're offering to that person would literally fix all of their problems overnight, even if you could do it that fast for them, and if you could do it for a ridiculous price that they would jump at, a lot of people still have other priorities. Oh, we've got this project on, oh, we'll get it done next quarter, or yeah, we'll review this next week, or oh, I have to speak with this department and that department, again, depending on the kind of clients that you're dealing with. So again, it doesn't mean that they're never going to buy. So how do we actually make sure that over time, because that's what we're trying to build for here, that over time, when part of these people here, this 9,700 people, are actually part of the little sliver, the 3% that are ready to buy, how do we make sure that when they're ready, that they do go directly to you? So there's a couple of different ways that you do this. So there's essentially 3 different channels that you can go through. There is your outbound channels. I'll give you an example in a moment. There is your inbound channels, and again, I'll give an example. And then there is paid channels as well. Now, of course, you could argue that some of those channels kind of interact with each other, but I'll give you the examples and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. So from an outbound perspective, let's say that you are emailing these 10,000 people. And let's say it takes you, I don't know, let's just call it that it's over a year, okay? So you're emailing these different 10,000 people over a year, essentially telling them what you can do, who you are, all that sort of stuff, and why it's beneficial to them. Again, a lot of people are not going to be interested because they just either don't have the time, they're just not going to look at it now, but at some point they will be ready, okay? So that doesn't mean that there's no point in doing outbound. This is where a lot of businesses go wrong, because they say, oh, we tried outbound and it didn't work, okay? That's because you're assuming that, well, if I have 10,000 leads that I'm going to reach out to, then surely a lot of those people will be ready. And by the way, just to be 100% clear, that even for the 300 people that are in a buying stage and are ready, that doesn't mean that you'll get those 300 people either. Of course, there's competition out there. You need to essentially put together the right offer for these kind of people. They need to see you as a credible source, all that sort of stuff. And that's where the next section comes in as well, the inbound side of things. So actually, before I move on to inbound, I should say, from an outbound perspective, if over a year you're contacting these 10,000 people, okay, and the vast majority are saying no, or they don't reply, which is fair enough. That's how it works in the likes of outbound. And you do get the odd few people who do reply. Well, first of all, you'll get some clients from that regardless, okay? And what a lot of businesses do then is they go, well, we didn't get the results we wanted, so we'll just stop that. Whereas realistically, what you can do is when the next year rolls around, reach out to those 10,000 people again. Obviously excluding the people you've already closed. Because now these people are in a buying stage. So it's just a case of timing, and you can repeat this as well. And don't be worried about, oh, but I contacted them last year and won't they get annoyed that I'm contacting them again? They don't remember that. So don't worry about that. Don't be afraid to recycle your leads from an outbound perspective, whether it's reaching out to them via email or whether it's reaching out to them on LinkedIn or whatever it is at all, okay? Don't be afraid to do that. So again, you're just throwing away clients if you don't recycle this. Same with the inbound side of things, okay? So you might think that in regards to these 9,700 people here, that they may not be ready yet. And of course, that's what I've mentioned, that they aren't actually ready. But there's different levels of pain that people go through before they actually get to a buying stage. So essentially their pain could be down here. They could be like, oh yeah, I'm aware of it, but it's not a fire I need to put out right now. And as time goes on, that pain gets more and more and more, okay? But if you can create content over time that eventually this person will see, so let's say that you start creating that content at, let's say that this is a timeline of 12 months here, and this is January, and then this is December, okay? That looks more like a P than a D, so that is the D for December. So let's say that you start making content here, okay? Realistically, if you're starting there, not a lot of people are going to see it, but what happens is that because of the way, the nature of content, essentially, if you do it right and you have your right SEO sort of things, whether it's YouTube or whether it's your own website or whether it's the AI overviews or ChatGPT, it doesn't matter, okay? If you do it right and you have the right kind of SEO behind you, that means that when these people are ready, let's say that it's over here in September, that not only will they be able to find you when they do search for it, but they see all this backlog catalog of the content that you've made, which gives them immediate proof, and again, social proof for you, that you are the people that are going to, because you're talking about different pain points that they have, and essentially they can binge your content. Again, that can be, it doesn't matter whether it is articles on your website, doesn't matter whether it's YouTube content, doesn't matter whether it's in AI overviews that they find you, it doesn't matter whatever, okay? And of course you can combine a lot of that as well, okay? So again, it doesn't mean that if you put out some inbound content over in here that you can be expecting these 10,000 people to see it immediately. Again, maybe these people will over here, these 300, but again, that doesn't mean that those 300 or that 3% will immediately convert. There's this timeline of trust that needs to constantly be built. And again, the more that you build this up, you're just building up banks of trust. That's all that content is. It's just building up banks of trust, showing that particular client that you understand their industry, their pain points, how to solve it, how you've solved it for other people like them before, the different steps that you would take, here's what you can do to resolve this particular problem, all that sort of stuff. So that's how you would do the inbound side of things. And by the way, if you combine that with the outbound stuff as well, because when you start reaching out to people, they will look up your domain that you're reaching out from, and if they find nothing here, well, of course, you don't look very credible, do you? Excuse me. But if they find banks of content about exactly the kind of problem that they're having and how you resolve it, well, all of a sudden this number, the number that you're getting from outbound, goes up as well. So they do complement each other if you do them right and know how to use them together. And then lastly, there is the paid side of things as well. The paid side of things is kind of similar to the inbound side of things. So let's just, in this particular example, say that it's Google Ads. And by Google Ads, I mean that when somebody searches a particular term or search phrase, that you show up in the search, you show up at the top of the search results from Google Ads, okay? Now again, you could be paying for Google Ads and you could be over here at the start of the year in January, but you've no outbound done, you've no inbound done. And again, this is where these complement each other again, because let's say that you are doing some Google Ads here and you're running a branded search for your own term, for your own brand name, which a lot of companies are like, why would I do that? Well, there's a lot of reasons you would, but here's one example. So let's say that you start reaching out to people and then they look up your domain, like I said that they would. And because you have this branded search here, that means that they find your website or they find your content, you're showing up immediately. And again, a lot of businesses do not understand how Google Ads work. They just see, oh, these people showed up at the top, they must be great. They must be very relevant, they must be the best at what they do. Now, of course, for people who know Google Ads and know how it works, they understand that a bit more. But believe me when I say this, the vast majority of people do not understand how Google Ads works, and they don't even know that there's ads at the top there, even though it very blatantly says it's an ad. Most people do not know that. I have seen this a million times before over the last 20 years that I've been doing this. So again, they all start to combine to each other. But that doesn't mean that these 9,700 people are going to be searching that, or if they're not interested from the outbound, they won't look for it. And of course, if they don't have enough pain, they're not going to search from an inbound perspective. But the point I'm trying to make through all of this is, you are building up banks of content you are building up this outbound list and you're building up the right ads to be showing to people, because it doesn't matter whether these particular people here, whenever they are actually ready, because at some point these people will be ready. They will be part of that particular group there. But you just want to be ready for this. If you're just constantly saying, oh, we rely on referrals and referrals already have trust, and that's great. But I'm sure if you rely on referrals, that your business probably goes like this. It's probably an up and down state, okay? And don't get me wrong, referrals are great. They're fantastic clients to get from referrals. It's usually a lot easier to close. But this is how you are able to do this from every angle possible, okay? So again, these are the only 3 possible ways that somebody can find you, is that you reach out to them, they search out for your solution, or you show up in front of them on a particular ad, of course with the right kind of targeting as well, okay? So this could be the kind of keywords that we know that they would search. And again, there's loads of tools for that. You can use Google Keyword Planner, Ahrefs, SEMrush, whatever it might be. So again, you can actually have whole campaigns based on that. So again, when these people are ready over here, even if you don't have them on your list for outbound and they are not searching through different people's contents and stuff like that, and you just want to show up number 1 straight away, of course you can do that from here by knowing what they search. It's very easy to find all that sort of information. So look, hopefully that gives you a bit of an overlook of, or not an overlook, but a bit of a better view on perhaps how you may have looked at this before. So again, even though you may have a particular marketplace, total addressable marketplace, as some people call it, a TAM of, let's say 10,000, it could be 100,000, it could be a million, okay? Realistically, only 3% are ready to buy at any point, but the other 97% are not. But at some stage they will be, and what you should be doing is getting ready for that 97, because this is constantly going to be turning over. So it's going to be those 3% that are over here. But obviously when those 3% either go with you or a competitor or whoever they go with, then the next 3% move on because their problem is solved. So now we have a new 3%, which we can have down here. And then again, we have a new 3%, which we have down here, and a new 3%, which we have down here. All you're doing is just getting ready for when these people are ready. That's it. So if you want to know a bit more about how to actually do all this sort of stuff and how to do it properly, you can check out the first link in the description.